Hey everyone, thanks for tuning into my channel, SiahSwag. I'm Kassiah, and today I'm going to be sewing up the Sheera Handbag, medium size, by Tryxus Design. Hopefully I'm saying that right. It is such an adorable bag. I absolutely love it. This is the finished product. I didn't put a double zipper on this one, but I should have. I would recommend doing a double pull. I added a tassel just so it's easier. And then the inside, super cute. It's got a double slip pocket there, a zip pocket here. It has connectors for crossbody strap. I have more of this in the mail coming to me, so I didn't have enough to do the crossbody strap this time around, but I will add one to it. The only changes I made were I did the handles differently. I didn't do swivel clip handles that can be taken off. I just did mine permanently on there. So this is the medium size, and this is the large. Just so you can kind of, I mean, it's quite the difference. The large one is gorgeous. It's perfect for an overnight bag, a diaper bag. I don't know. It's a great bag, but this medium size is probably the one I would use if I was just needing a purse for every day. So hopefully this tutorial helps. Please subscribe. Subscribe to my channel. I promise I'll give you good videos. And thank you. Thanks for watching. All right, let's get going. Okay, let's talk pieces that you need for this Sheera pattern. I have them all cut out and ready to go. So I'll tell you what I interfaced with too. You could do multiple different things. I think it depends on what kind of machine you're sewing on. If you're doing a domestic, you want to make sure that you're cutting your interfacing out of all of your seam allowances. I'm using my industrial, so I don't really need to do that. So my exterior panel fabric, I am using this canvas from Hawthorne threads, and I interfaced it with 2 layers of Wovenfuse 2, and then I'm also going to put foam on it, so it gives it just a really good body. So we have those pieces, and then I have my 2 vinyl bottom panel pieces. I have my accents, my straps for the front and back of it, and let's see, I've got my slip pocket pieces. I'm doing one with the canvas and one with waterproof canvas, and then my accent piece on the top. Got my pocket piece, and on this pattern, I enlarged my pocket piece by 1 inch width, and I want to say like 4 inches longer. I just wanted a bigger pocket inside of it. I did that when I did the large too, and I liked the bigger pocket. You don't have to do that. That's just what I did. I've got my inside. I'm doing the waterproof canvas. And then you need your zipper. You need your zipper accent panel pieces. So that's what your zipper is going to be attached to on the top. And my side panels. My bottom piece, I already put a layer of Decaville Heavy. I did it out of the seams because it is pretty heavy duty stuff. And then I did a layer of just foam, and I basted it, and then I put my feet on, and then I taped over my feet so they don't rub against my lining. So I already did that. And then I have my inside, side, and bottom panels, and then my foam pieces. So that is all you need to get started with this pattern. So let's start with the first thing. Okay, so the first thing the pattern has you does, I'm going to try and follow the pattern so you guys can follow it along with me. It has you get some of your straps ready for the front. So I've already done 3 of mine, and I'll show you how to do one of them. So those are the 3 that I've already prepped and gotten ready. So let's do this one. So I marked my center, I put my double-sided tape down it, okay, and I'm going to fold my edges in. Oops. Sorry. There we go. All right. And then it wants you to mark down. Here's my bigger ruler. So depending on which size you're doing, it has different measurements. So I am doing the medium size. So make sure you're doing the markings for the medium size. It has you mark it down 1 3/8 from the top of your strap, wherever that's going to be. And then from that mark, it wants you to do 3/4 down. Just like that. Okay, now I am going to sew from this top line just down to this bottom line on both sides. We just need our stitching there. Okay, just a little bit, not a lot of stitching. See what I did? Just from one line to the next. So I want to do that on my other one as well. Other side. All right. I'm just gonna burn those back threads real quick. Okay, and that's what your strap should look like. Now you should do that to all 4 straps. Okay, I've got my 4 straps here all done. You can also take a little alcohol pad wipe and wipe off your markings if you're using one of these air erasing pens that comes right off. Okay, so and then you do your D-ring tabs, which I already did. You just fold them into the middle like you did your straps and sew along each side and put your D-rings in, and that's just, you'll use that later, but go ahead and do that now. So you should have 2 of those. And then next you want, so after these straps are done, set those aside, and we are going to put on our accent pieces. Okay, so grab your 2 panels and grab your 4 accent pieces. Now you should have cut out your accent pieces. They should be mirrored. So you should have, sorry, you should have 2 going one way and 2 going another way. Okay, so they're mirrored. I put a strip of tape on the back just to make sure they stay in place. And you are just going to sew those on nicely. You want your stitching to look nice. So make sure you're doing this. So you want the short side of this accent piece is going to be on the side of the panel. And the longer side of the accent piece will be along the top. Okay. Just like that. Okay, and then we're going to, I'm just going to go ahead and put my other two on real quick. On this side over here. All right, and then we are going to top stitch those down. So what I'm gonna do is I'm basting along the top and the side, and then I'm doing a nice top stitch around the corner. Just like that. Okay, do that around all four sides. If I had, by the way, if I had Decaville Heavy, or not Decaville Heavy, if I had Decaville Light, that is probably what I would use to interface all this, the whole piece at the end, but I'm out, so that's why I'm using foam. Foam works fabulous too. The pattern says you can do either, so it's pretty much just your preference, what you like to use and how you want your bag, if you want it more stiff or floppy or however you want it. I am sewing on a King Max, which is like a off-brand of the Juki 1181. I am using a 69 nylon thread in like a cream color and a size 18, maybe 18 or 20 needle. That's just kind of my everything size when I make bags. All right, that's it. Those are our 4 accent pieces, okay? So next you wanna put on those straps that we just finished right here. And what I do is I take my pattern piece and I'm just gonna mark it real quick, just to make sure I've got them coming down in the right spots. Doesn't have to be anything big. Okay. Flip that over. You just want them to be even. Okay, and then the next side over here. And then we'll put them on. Okay. And then I like to put just a little piece of tape on these as well, just so they stay in place. I use double-sided vinyl leather tape from, this one's from waywack.com. And this is just the 1/4 inch double-sided. Okay, so we want to get our straps. You're going to just line it up at your top marks as best you can and your bottom marks. There's going to be a little bit of space, but that's okay. There's not much at the top and bottom. I'll show you. So there's my first one. There's just a tiny bit. It'll get sewn up. Okay. So we will do that first. So what we're doing is we're going to start down here. We're going to sew up to our line where we sewed before. We're going to sew across that and back down, because then we're going to put our connector in here, close it up, and sew the top. So go ahead and do that. All right. All right, that's what that looks like. Now we're going to, I am using just rectangle rings and putting my handles to these. The pattern calls for you using D-rings and doing swivel clips on your handles. I think so you can take it off and use the crossbody, but for the smaller one, I think I just want my handles on there, so I am not going to do D-rings with swivel clips this time. So again, it's just the great thing about patterns is you can make them your own, and that's how I'm just doing this one. So I just slid that down in there, and now I'm going to do the same thing on the top piece that I did on the bottom piece. I'm gonna put a little piece back here just so it doesn't rip my vinyl, just so I'm extra careful there. All right. So that is our first connector, just like that, okay? Again, you can put a D-ring there and do swivel clips on your handle. I'm just connecting my handles. So I am gonna go ahead and do all of them just like that. Okay. All right, don't forget to put your connector in there. Okay. So my first panel is fabulous. There we go. Okay, just a little thing. Okay, do your second one. I love the look of these little accent pieces. I think they're cute. And my stitch length, I'm keeping at about a 5. Yeah, it's at a 5 right now. All right, one more. Right there, good. Okay. Okay. There's our other panel. Okay, so next you want to take your bottom vinyl pieces, okay? We're gonna have to clip our edges here to kind of really get it to fold into the piece. I'll show you what I mean. I need my bigger scissors though. So I am just going to take it and I'm just going to do tiny little snips, okay? Nothing big. It just helps it lay better and you can sew it on at a smoother stitch. Okay, so you want it to go on like that, so you're going to take it like that and you're going to flip it up, okay? So on your outside piece, there's like, your side is straight and then it starts to turn. So this piece is going to go where it starts to turn, okay? That's where you're going to start that snip. And then, or that clip. I forgot to mark my centers. Mark your center real quick of your outside piece here. Because I have my center marked already on this piece. So I'm going to line up my centers. right there. Okay. Kind of help me know where I'm going with that. And then I'm going to take this piece and clip it to my other side over here. All right. So now you're going to kind of want to work this in. I kind of go along there first, and then because I snipped, it kind of like will bend the right way. Do you see that? It's kind of bending, or just curving, I guess I should say, the way I want it to. And the snips on the fabric is really what helps you do that on the vinyl or whatever you're using. All right, that side. I did quite a few clips to keep it in place there. And then go ahead and do this side. And then when we sew it down, everything in this pattern, when she says sew, she wants you to do a 3/8 seam allowance. The only way that's different is if she says based. If she says based, it means 1/8. But if it just says sew, she's talking 3/8. This seems a little funky when you're clipping it, but trust me, it'll lay out really nice when you flip it down, okay? That's what that looks like when you're clipping. Okay, so I am going to sew this down at a 3/8 seam allowance. I'm just going to shorten my stitching just a little bit too. And you just want to make sure it's kind of flat. You don't want to sew over any bumps. So you may have to use both your hands to kind of work that in on these corners. Like right here. Okay. Watch this. It lays so nicely. Okay. Oh, tiniest. No, that's fine. Okay. So do the next one. And then we'll top stitch both of those. All right, so I am going to clip first. Okay, and then, oh, flip your center too. Okay, take your piece, flip it up. I'm gonna clip my centers first this time. Okay. Here we go. Got our next one on there. Let's sew that up. All right, now you want to top stitch that down. Okay, very carefully. And I lengthen my seam or my stitch length when I am going to top stitch back to a 5. Shoot, my thread broke. I don't know why it's doing that. There we go. Sorry, just a second. There we go. Okay, so that is what we have. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and do that to my next one real quick. And I'm just pushing this panel down as I go, like where the seam is. I'm just using my fingers to push it down. All right. Okay, there's our panels. So next, after we get our front panels done, we want to attach our foam. If you're using foam, you could do Decaville Light. If you're using Decaville Light, options. If you are not sewing on an industrial, you definitely want to cut this out of your seam allowance. Don't sew this into your seam allowance, which means you have to adhere it in some way. You could use a permanent adhesive. You could do what I'm doing here. I'm going to, well, I'm doing it a couple ways just to secure it extra. So I am going to do a double top stitch along my bottom and along my accent pieces, and that kind of puts the foam to the piece. And then I'm also going to do a stitch on a basting stitch on the outside to compress the edges and attach the foam as well. So I'm going to do this bottom piece first down here, just to, because I don't want to attach it here first because then it might wrinkle right here. So I'm going to sew it on right here. I don't know if this is the wrong or right way to do it. I know this is how I like to do it when I do foam. I don't always like to attach it with heat if it's fusible, because I feel like foam tends to wrinkle a little bit, especially when I'm turning the bag out and everything. So I'd rather just sew parts of it on there. I've never had issues with it. Your experience may be different than mine, but that's just what I know. Okay, I just did another top stitch, and so it kind of hooked the foam on there. And then I'm going to do my top accent pieces as well up here. And also, I just love the way the double top stitching looks. I probably would double top stitch it even if I was just doing Decaville or something, because I really like the look of it. I feel like it gives it just a little bit extra something. Oh, and by the way, the vinyl I'm using is from my Punk Broidery. It's Stardust Pastel Pink, and it's super pretty. I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but it kind of like has a little shimmer to it. I really like it. Okay, so now I'm just going to, I did double top stitching on that, and now I'm just going to baste all my edges to that foam. And I'm kind of just pressing all of my vinyl down really good while I'm sewing it so it's flat. that's it, guys. That's how I attach my foam to this. See that? And then it doesn't wrinkle when you turn it out. I already did my other side. Attached my label. Okay, so there's my 2 front pieces. And then we have to do our side pieces. I already did my bottom. So we're going to do our side panels. And again, I'm just going to baste down the foam. That's it. And as long as you are sewing it within smaller than a 3/8 seam allowance, you're fine, because that's what we're going to be putting this bag together at, is a 3/8 seam allowance. So you don't have to be too paranoid about that. You should be fine. Okay, 1 panel. All right. So now that you have all your interfacing done, you want to attach your middle panels and your base together. I am going to fold these and mark my centers real quick just to make sure these line up. Yeah, they're perfect. Okay. So you just want to sew your side panels onto your base. At a 3/8 seam allowance. And I'm shortening my stitch for that. Remember, whenever she says sew, she means 3/8. Trust me, I asked, so I know that for a fact. Okay. Whoops, I didn't cut this. All right, and now do your other side. Should line up perfectly, so. Okay. Throw all my sewing stuff around. All right, here we go. And then you're going to want to top stitch that down, okay? Let's go ahead and top stitch that. Fold the bottom panel down. So you're going to want that down towards your bottom piece, and you're going to top stitch along your bottom piece, along your base. Just like that, guys. Okay, same thing for your other side. So you're folding everything towards your base. So your front or your side panel and your bottom panel goes towards the base. All right, and that's all your outside pieces, okay? So put all of those aside, and we're going to work on our inside pieces. So get your, we're gonna do the same exact thing real quick to our lining pieces with the bottom and the side panels. I'm gonna mark the center of my bottom panel just for putting the whole thing together later. It's helpful. Okay. So do the same exact thing to this that we just did to our exterior pieces. Okay, 3/8 seam allowance as well. You're going to want to top stitch those too. Same exact way. I'm going to fold them towards the bottom and I'm going to top stitch on my bottom panel, okay? This one, fold it towards, see I'm folding it towards the bottom. Okay, it's the same way you should have done it on your exteriors. All right, so that's your gusset pieces. Put those aside and we're going to work on a slip pocket, okay? This is my slip pocket, which I love the way she does the slip pocket. It looks so good. I ran out of my pretty pink. So I'm using, it's the same type, except this like pretty, I think this one's the pastel blue. And it's super pretty and it matches. So I'm going to use that instead. So you want to take this piece, your accent piece, and you're going to want to mark your middle. So, oh my gosh, what's my middle here? What's that at? About right there. It's at about one mark after your 1.5, which I think is that, oh my goodness, what is that? I don't even know what that mark would be. So the center, mark your center, okay? 1 mark after your 1.5. Okay. Just like that. Okay, and then let's take these are my slip pocket pieces, right sides together. I'm gonna sew them together. I'm using a 3/8 seam allowance. All right. You're going to open those up. I think maybe I'm going to try opening my seam this time. Let's try that. Open my seam. All right. So we are going to get this piece and we're going to put it in the center, okay? And you're just kind of lining up your center there. And what I'm going to do is, you know, you could totally tape this down if you wanted to. Which I wonder if I should just tape it down. Guys, I'm going to tape this down this time so it doesn't move. Put my tape kind of in the center of it, beside each of my marks, so it doesn't gum up my needle. This tape tends to go, I love this tape. It's awesome tape. It's from Waywack, but it like totally gums up my needle. So I have to try and keep it out of where I am going to actually stitch. I am going to do it this way this time. Okay. Oops. I'm going to knock it down. Let's just take off one piece at a time. I'm going to fold that in my little seam allowance there. Put it down. It does not have to be perfect, guys. It'll look cute even if it's off. You won't even tell. All right, see that? I'm gonna do my other side real quick. And the measurement of the piece in this that they give you for this pocket is way too big. So if you have only a smaller piece, then that's fine. All right, so what you're gonna do is you're going to top stitch along each edge of this first before we fold it down, okay? And I have my seam flattened out. Side, and I'll do the other side. And you could probably just keep your stitch going along it if you wanted to too. Okay. And now you're gonna fold that. Oh yeah, I like how yeah, definitely press your seam out. I think it made a difference for sure. So you're gonna just fold that together now and you're gonna top stitch along that, okay? Oh yeah, definitely flatten your seam on that one. It makes a difference. Speaking from the last one I made, I didn't flatten out my seam, and it does make a difference. It lays better. Okay, so we're clipping it together, and then we're gonna top stitch that. I'm going to clip off my long edges here real quick. It's definitely like almost 3 inches too long. Sorry, just a minute. Okay, top stitch that. Getting the tape. It sounds like I've got tape in there, maybe not. Sounds like it's getting sticky. All right, hopefully not. Oh, it's fine. Okay. Feel my needle there. It's okay. Super cute, huh guys? So I think for this bag, you could do 3 pockets. I think for this one, I'm gonna do 2. Because I want to say that 3 might be, I think 3 would be too small for this one. So I'm just going to do 2 separate pockets on this. So 6.25 about. I think that's about the middle. Okay, I'm going to mark it. And take your inside piece here, lay it on top and sew it on, and I'm going to go up and over and back down where I just made that mark for my separating the pockets. Okay. Ooh, I love this floral. I really like it. Okay. Maybe I should move you guys a little closer to my sewing machine here. Is that a little better? Okay. So just stitch that onto your main piece. Stop at your line and go up. Go over. I'm going to stitch back and go over again just to give it a little extra. Okay. There's your slip pocket. I love the detail on that. It's so cute. So I am going to mark my center of this panel real quick. I don't remember if I need to mark the center of the top, but I am going to go, I think it's helpful. Go ahead and mark the center of the top too. Okay, so next is your zipper pocket. Again, I lengthened and widened my zipper pocket. You don't have to. I just wanted a bigger pocket. And I'm not really looking at the exact measurements she did on this. Let's see, what does she say? How far down from the top? 2 3/4 down from the top is where you want your rectangle of the zipper pocket to be. Okay, I always this is how I do all my zipper pockets. I do them 1 inch in from the sides, 1/2 inch wide rectangle. Just like that. Find the middle of everything here. Place it on there. Looks about good. I just kind of fold mine up. I'm going to move it down a little. How far down am I moving mine? She says 2 and yeah, mine's at 2 3/4. Perfect. Yep, that's a perfect length down. So go ahead and do that way. Where's my pins? My pin cushion. Okay, oh shoot. A little bit more. Sorry about that. Right there. Beautiful. All right, pin that on. And you're going to sew around your rectangle. Smaller stitch length around your rectangle. It'll help you have control. Okay. And then you want to cut that out. You can use little scissors too if you don't have a, this is a Fisker's tool, just a little blade. I use it a ton for my sewing, and it's shaped so it's easy to grasp and easy to use. I really like it. It helps me do small detailed stuff that I need to cut sometimes, and I use it for my zippers. Okay, so pull that through. If you can iron your material, go iron this. It helps. I just don't want to iron my canvas. So I'm just giving it a really good press, and that helps. My nails there. Okay. All right. So put your zipper in. Hold that there for a minute. Okay, so here's my zipper. I'm just taking off one side first and placing it in so I can situate it, and then I will take off the other side of the tape. Okay, just like that. Fold it over and take off the other side. Maybe, there we go. This kind of helps so it doesn't all stick down the wrong way at first. You're not fighting with it. Okay, go ahead and stitch that. Change back your stitch length there. I usually start at the bottom corner down here. Ah. Pinched my finger. All right. Once you got that top stitched, oh my gosh, my thread keeps breaking. What we're gonna do is on hers, she wants you to cut the bottom, okay? So fold it up. Actually, just a second. I'm going to singe these little threads real quick. And I'm gonna fix this. My thread keeps getting stuck up top on the spool. I think it's just this spool of thread. All right. It makes it all tight and then it doesn't want to pull through. Okay. So we're going to clip it up together. Matching all your edges here. And then we're going to cut the bottom open, okay? You could totally do this. This is just how she does it in this pattern, which I like to somewhat stick to how she does things in the pattern. You could do it where you have two pieces. Like, I know there's lots of other patterns that do it that way. So either way works. There's no wrong way really for this one. All right, so you're gonna sew up the sides and the top, but not the bottom. I'm just doing a fourth inch seam allowance for that. You can do whatever. All right. And then you want to take this to your iron probably, and you want to iron up your edges like that, because when we're done, we're going to be sewing that shut, and it's helpful if you have them already creased so you know where to fold it. So I'll take it to my ironing board and do that in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and mark my centers. And then we're going to move on to the zipper. Okay, so we have all of our inside pieces done, okay? So make sure you leave that open for when we're putting it all together. All right, so let's move on to the zipper. So you have your two zipper panel pieces that are your interior and your exterior, okay? So you have your zipper. I don't even have my pull on yet. I'm gonna do that after the fact. So super easy. You're just going to put your outside piece, your exterior on one side, on the top. So your zipper is facing up. Your exterior right side is facing down, and I'm going to sandwich it in between, and then we'll open it up, okay? Just like this. And I'll put my inside one right there. And you're just gonna do that on both sides. And it should line up. And you're gonna have, I cut my zipper a little bit longer just so I have some wiggle room, okay? And then you're gonna, I'm using a number 5 zipper, and I'm sewing a 1/4 of an inch in. I could probably get closer if I changed to a zipper foot, but I'm not going to. Oh, shoot, I ran out of bobbin. New one. Oh, I don't have a full one. We'll see how long this one lasts me. All right. still. All right, let's try that again. Sorry about that. Get that clipped on there. All right. All right, and then you're gonna flip it over and top stitch. So flip both pieces over. Just like that, okay? And do not top stitch. Don't top stitch all the way around, just by the zipper, because you need the lining piece and the top piece to be separate when we're sewing it all together at the end. So don't connect those two. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, so this is what your first side looks like, and you just need to do the same exact thing to your other side. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing to this other side here. So my zipper is up and laying my top exterior down, and I want it to line up with my other one that I just did. So make sure you're lining that up. You want them to be even. And you could base that on first if you want, before you put your lining piece on. It's however you want to do it. I'm just doing it all in one swoop. Okay, like that. Sew that on. Top stitch. All right, so once you have that done, you want to, if you're doing the crossbody strap, this is where you put your connectors for that. Okay, so there's my zipper piece. I'm going to fold this in half and just mark my centers real quick. Just to make it easier when I put the bag together. Okay, D-rings. Okay, here's our D-rings. We are going to place them and line them up with the edge and put it in the center and top stitch, not top stitch, base stitch right there. Okay. Just center it up as best you can. Looks good. Just like that. I've got a bunch of crazy threads that aren't going to show, so it doesn't matter. All right, do the same on the other side. Okay. Sweet. We've got all of our pieces done. Okay. Beautiful. All right, let's work on putting this thing all together. Okay, you guys. Before you put on your D-rings, don't forget to put your zip on. I almost forgot to put my zip on. I had to unstitch a D-ring and put my zip on. So your zipper pull. Don't forget to put your zipper pull on and then do your D-rings. Okay, just making sure we got that. Okay, so next you want to take your finished zipper panel, your outside gusset piece, and you're going to clip at the top of your side panels, your zipper piece to the top of the side, right sides together on both sides, right sides together, just line it up, center it. Okay, now it's important that you don't sew all the way to these edges. You want to leave a 3/8. You want to stop at a 3/8 inch on each side, because when we sew on our panel pieces, we need that extra piece of each side. We don't want them to be sewn together because we're sewing them together. We're sewing them separately. So make sure you stop at a 3/8 inch on each side. So I'm going to mark that real quick. Kind of about where my clip is. Make sure you stop there. Don't sew all the way. So when we do this first piece, we're going to baste. We're going to do it at a basted stitch. When we sew the lining piece onto it, we're sewing at a 3/8 inch. Okay, but we're still each time going to leave. We're going to stop at that 3/8 mark each time, okay? Because we don't want to sew all the way. It's like when you do a boxed out bottom, and you have to stop, and you don't sew all the way to the ends, so you can box it out. Same thing, it's pretty much the same idea with this top piece. It's like a boxed out bottom. Okay. So we're just basting this one. Okay. Just to there. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Okay. And then I want to take my inside gusset piece, okay? I forget if I'm doing this. It doesn't say on this. I think it is open. She doesn't say if this is right side out or not. Just a minute, let me think about this. Okay, yeah. So we want right side down, okay? And we're clipping this to the zipper piece up top where we just did our outside piece, okay? Just up here. And again, we're going to stop at 3/8, but now we are sewing our regular stitch length, which is 3/8. So yeah, right sides together. Yeah, she doesn't say in the pattern right sides together, so make sure that that is what you are doing, because when it's all sewn, everything's right. All right. Sorry, again, I'm just gonna mark so I know for myself, because if I don't mark it, I won't stop. Stopping at 3/8. All right, and then I'm going to sew at our normal seam allowance, that all together, okay? Because you're not going to be stitching this top piece again. This is your final stitch on this. And start in at that mark. And it's kind of, you know, you're stitching through that connector piece too, so it's kind of thick right there. Okay, so my edges are all still open on both sides. Okay, now do that on the other side. Okay. All right, so we have our two big gussets ready to go. All right. So you can start with the front, the back, whatever. I don't know if it matters. The let's see. I want this one to be here, right? Yep. Okay, so I am putting my first piece on. Did I mark my center up here? Make sure you have your centers marked. It'll help when assembling all of this together. I didn't mark my top of this. All right. Lots of clipping, lots of fitting it in. Now I am going to leave a hole in my lining. Did I clip the bottom? Shoot, I didn't clip the bottom either. I'm going to leave a hole on the bottom in my lining to turn it through, and then I'm going to pull my lining through my pocket and sew it up that way. And you can leave a nice big hole in your lining on this bag. And this gusset clips together usually pretty easily. It's a nice shape. All right, so line up your top here. So your pieces are separate, so make sure that you're not sewing your lining to your exterior piece when you sew around on this, okay? When you stitch around, you don't want to catch your lining in there. Goes in pretty nicely, I think. top here. I kind of like to just push in my corner right there and see where that fits first and clip that and then go out. This isn't an exact science, so I don't know. People have different ways they like to do this. I'll kind of clip. Okay. Yeah. So kind of clip your top together there. Shouldn't have put my clips away yet. Don't forget, I'm only clipping the exterior. I'm moving the lining out of the way, okay? Do not clip your lining into that. All right. Have that clipped all the way around. Just like that. I am going to sew it with my foam piece down and my lining or my exterior looking up at me. And we're sewing this at a 3/8 inch on the outside pieces. I increase my seam allowance when I go on the inside pieces. I don't think it says to do that in the pattern, but that's what I do. I'm gonna take this. I didn't start all the way up at the top because it's hard to get to. So I'm going to take this. I'm not gonna sew all the way up, but I'm gonna sew to about 3/8. Like I said, it's kind of like you're boxing out your top. Okay, so I sewed right to there. And now I'm going to do my top piece, okay? And I'm going to do it with it facing up so I can make sure that I'm not catching my lining in there with it. I do not want to get my lining. Okay, there is my first piece on. I'm just going to open it up. Yeah. It's good on the inside. It's a little wrinkly right there, but I think when I turn it, it'll stretch it out and make it fine. Okay, so it's not pleated or anything. It's just from the way it's folded. So let's do our next piece here. Get your centers. Okay. Flip away. All right, put that down. And we will, sorry, we will be trimming our seam allowance down as well. All right, next side. Sorry, there is no fast way to do this, guys. Like, I hate doing this. I love it because it means I'm almost done. I hate it because it's so tedious and takes a while. And it can be a little frustrating sometimes. All right, and we just need to do our top piece real quick. All right. And I need to open my zipper here so I can get my hand in, to be able to get my hand in there. That's a little bit better angle. I'm starting a little bit down on there, and I'll come back up to that. it over and sew it more up on the top here. Okay, and then do your top piece. Remember, don't get your lining in there. Kind of box it out. This might be easier if I had my zipper foot on. So if you want to put your zipper foot on and try it. All right. Let's see. Looks good. I am going to trim down all of this. On my top piece too here. Just be careful what you're trimming. Don't trim your lining. All right, one more side. Oh, my hand is sore. It's tiring. Okay, all trimmed. Let's do the lining. I think it looks good. Looks good. All right, let's do the lining next. And remember, we want to leave a hole open in our lining. Let's see, I want to do this one. This is the one I want to leave a hole open in because the zipper pocket's on the other side. So I have to remember when I'm pinning it. So on this one, I'm going to start at the top at the 3/8 inch, and I am going to increase it because I feel like it helps your lining sit in better to your bag. I don't think she says to do it in the pattern, but that's just what I do for my bags. So you can do it, you cannot do it. It is up to you. could also put some clips in this. It might help it. Could do that on the outside too when you were doing it. Let's try it. I want to see if it makes a difference. Yeah, it helps. Go ahead and clip it if you want. It does help. All right, so I'm gonna leave like a pretty big opening in this for my bag because I don't like to struggle when I'm pulling them through. I feel like clipping it helped. Okay, we're gonna sew that together. All right, I already sewed up the side, the first side that I clipped, left a big old hole to turn it through. And now I'm sewing up the final lining side. Okay, and it's a little difficult, but you can do it. I think the lining is a little bit smaller, and at least mine is. So it makes lining up the edges just a little bit more trickier. But the nice thing is it's your lining, and it does not have to be anything perfect. Don't be afraid to just bend the bag out of your way, because you're going to have to. Over and get up more on this side. Do your top. We are about there, guys. Yeah, my lining piece is definitely shorter than my top piece. So just make sure you close those seams up. You should be fine. Just pinch that all under there. Okay. Let's turn it through. Actually, no, let's trim our edges first. Trim off our extra seam allowance here so it fits. And I am not trimming where I'm going to sew it up. I'll do that after I pull it through and sew it up. All right, let's see what this looks like, guys. Fingers crossed. Oh my goodness, I love this vinyl, guys. Such a cute shape. Look at that. Such a cute shape. All right. So we are going to close up the bottom. Well, let's poke out all of our corners here. Okay. Yes. All right. So to sew up our bottom, you got to have your zipper pocket open. Pull out your zipper pocket. you're going to grab your lining and pull it through. Okay, there's our open. So we just want to close that up. Okay. And trim that down. Stick it all back through. Cute bag. All right, and then sew your pocket shut. And we are about there, guys. Yay! Right there. Sew that shut. I'm just gonna get my nylon threads there. All right, push it back in. All right, how about that? All right, let me get you back out here. And maybe up a little here. Sorry about that, guys. There we go. Look at that. Yay, so all we have to do is the handles. Okay, so you have your crossbody straps, if that's what you're gonna do, and these handles. So I'm gonna not make you so lean down so much either. Sorry, technical difficulties. All right, so I already have one handle, and I'm gonna do the other one real quick. I'll just show you. Oh, this bag is so cute, guys. Such a cute pattern. So it's a 4" by, I did 4 by 28, marked my middle, folded in my edges, and then I'm gonna fold it again and sew that up. All right, should start this way. And like I said, the pattern calls for your straps on swivel hooks and D-rings, but I chose to do it differently this time because I don't think I want my handles to come off of this bag. So I'm just doing rectangle rings and I'm hooking them through. All right, so there are our straps. I'm just gonna trim off my little edges here, make them flush. Make them look nice. Okay, so there's our handles. And then we want to, I did add rivets too to my bag right there. We're gonna put them up like that. And we could even we can just rivet them or sew them. I think I'm just gonna, I don't know if I trust rivets to hold. I'm gonna sew them and then put a rivet in them. So I'll just show you what the bag looks like real quick with our handles on. And then of course you can make a crossbody strap as well. And you make the crossbody strap same exact way, 4 inches, fold it in, fold it in. Oops, I folded those the wrong way. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm almost done, guys, that's why. All right. Sorry about that. Zoop. Super cute. Okay, so this is the medium size. Ta-da! I hope this video is helpful. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, please. Give me a thumbs up, comment, let me know if you guys have any questions. I check and I try and answer everybody's questions. And thank you so much for watching. And I can't wait to see what you guys do with this pattern. It's super cute. Okay, bye guys.